Well, it's been nearly 2 years since I've gone to Six Flags America up in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and I still haven't done a countdown for the coasters that I rode there. And that is for a couple reasons. One, the park is not that great, so I didn't really have any desire to do it. And two, I didn't get to ride two of their coasters, and that is Batwing, which was their Vekoma Flying Dutchman, which I was able to ride Nighthawk, and people say that Batwing is better, and I actually like Nighthawk, so who knows, maybe that might rank higher. But yeah, and the Great Chase I could not find anywhere in the park. I was looking in the map to find the Great Chase, but I couldn't find it. That's their kiddie coaster. But Six Flags America, they have an okay lineup of coasters. They really need some more types of coasters, and with that space in between Batwing and Superman, they can do so much. But yeah, here's my top 7 coasters at Six Flags America. Number 7 is going to, of course, Mind Eraser, the Vekoma SLC. This Vekoma SLC sucks. And even worse, the operations are very slow. They were running one train when I was there, and it was not worth it. It was literally a station wait, and I had to wait at least a half an hour to ride this thing. The dispatches were that bad. And of course, this thing is so shaky. It has so much head banging. It is just absolutely awful, and I absolutely hate this ride. Probably the worst coaster I've ridden. And oh my gosh, it's just so bad. And number 6 is going to Ragin Cajun, their Spinning Wild Mouse coaster. And I'm going to be honest, I do not really like Spinning Wild Mouse coasters. This coaster really was not that great for me. I mean, I prefer this to Primeval Whirl and all that stuff, but I feel like the spinning was a little too much for me. It got me kind of dizzy when I got off the ride for basically until I was heading out of the park. This is the last coaster I rode at the park, so it's an okay spinning Wild Mouse, but I much prefer the non-spinning Wild Mouses. They're just more comfortable and more enjoyable. And number 5 is going to what now is Firebird, Apocalypse. Their former B&M stand-up coaster, they now converted to a floorless with a new color scheme and a new theme and a new name, Firebird. And this ride was not as bad as people said it was. It's actually a pretty fun coaster. The inversions are probably my favorite parts of the ride. Every other part is kind of headbanging and okay, but the ride itself, it's actually pretty decent. It's pretty fun, and it actually got some decent forces in it. And of course, the theming is awesome. Was awesome for this coaster. It had a bunch of wreckage stuff, and they didn't have to worry about maintaining that area because, well, you just ride over time. But now, all you got is fire. Wow, so unique. Yeah, this ride was fun, and I heard it's worse as Firebird now, so I wish they kept it as Apocalypse, but you know, it's okay. And number 4 is going to Wild One, their Dinn Corporation wooden coaster that's been operating for over 100 years. This coaster used to operate at another park in Massachusetts, but then got relocated to Six Flags America in 1985. And this is actually a pretty fun coaster. I mean, I'm not as big of a fan of it as some other people say. Like, many people say it's like the best coaster in the park. I personally don't think so. It is definitely a fun ride, but it is definitely very rough. I mean, for its age, obviously, so it's not too surprising. But also, I didn't really get that much airtime on it. I mean, it's decently forceful, but I would definitely say this coaster definitely lacks a little bit in airtime, for me at least. I don't know if that was just because I was focusing on the roughness so much, but it definitely is a fun ride, and the Helix is also really fun. It really does some awesome laterals there, and yeah, Wild One is a classic, and I really enjoy it. And now we're heading to our top 3. Number 3 is kind of a controversial opinion. I am putting Roar, their GCI wooden coaster, over Wild One. Roar was just such an enjoyable coaster. It's not the most intense or has the most airtime, but it's just plain fun, and like most GCIs, has great laterals, and it's just a very enjoyable coaster. I rode front row on this coaster, and it was definitely a lot of fun. Just had my hands up in the air the whole time, and I was actually really surprised. This coaster is really underrated, and this ride would be great for an RMC conversion, but at the same time, it would just be a clone of Joker, but it still is a fun ride that I definitely think you should do at Six Flags America. Number 2 is going to the Premier Rides Launch Spaghetti Bowl Coaster of the park, Joker's Jinx. And I heard the paint is really chipping with this ride, and I hope they repaint it. I'm pretty sure they are repainting it, but this ride is definitely a lot of fun. I've done this and also Flight of Fear at King's Dominion, and I much prefer this to Flight of Fear. One, this coaster is smoother. It is definitely a lot smoother, and it powers through those elements a lot faster than Flight of Fear. And what makes this better than Flight of Fear is that the mid-course brake run does not slow you down unlike Flight of Fear. Flight of Fear just slows you down and kills all the momentum. This coaster does not slow you down whatsoever, and you power through those final elements, including that corkscrew, which is probably the best part of the ride. It gets some great hang time, although all the other elements are really fun too. And it was just a flat-out fun coaster. I mean, I would like it to be indoors too. It would be really cool if this ride was indoors, but just looking at this from afar, I mean, it's amazing how Six Flags America was able to put all of that space into such a small area, and it's just insane how it looks. And the ride is decently forceful too, especially since the ride is so compact. And finally, number one, I don't think this should surprise too many people, although some people do not put this at the number one in the park, is Superman Ride of Steel, their Intamin hypercoaster. I enjoyed Superman. It is very powerful, it's very intense, it's very underrated in my opinion. It gives some great airtime. The helixes are a little odd, and the straight section really is not necessary, but if anything, the straight section kind of gives you a bit of speed. But my favorite part of the ride is those 3 airtime hills at the end. You go absolutely flying. It is such great airtime, such great ejector, and I really enjoyed Superman. It was so much fun. Really, the biggest complaint with this ride, besides the straight section and the helixes, is probably the restraints. This one does have like the leg guards, which is kind of uncomfortable. If they took that off, then I would really enjoy the restraints because it's, you know, the Intamin T-bars. But Superman is such a fun coaster, and I really enjoyed it. And if I ever went back to Six Flags America, which I don't know if I will anytime soon, but if I did, I would definitely ride this coaster. So, do you agree with this list? Let me know down in the comment section below, and please be sure to subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. And smash the like button. And hopefully I can see you guys soon. See you guys, bye.